This book, I Understand by Stephen King, is so renowned. It's so good! What's up, guys? My name is Moo. I am a college student who loves reading, and I'm here to share that love with all of you. So, when I was a kid, I was such a wuss. I obviously loved reading from a young age. The last video, I believe, is Warrior Cats. It's a book series I loved in my childhood. I've been reading from a young age. One thing though that I avoided a lot as a kid was horror. There are horror books that are geared towards children, something that will give them a little scare but won't like traumatize them. And then there are the movies from like the 80s that aren't meant to traumatize children but do. But either way, I heavily avoided horror. And then I grew up a little bit and I became a little bit less of a wuss, and I asked for suggestions about horror books because I had never really read any horror books before, and I really wanted to. I wanted to dip my toes in the genre because I thought it would be something I was interested in. And this is the first horror book I've ever really read, and it was the perfect introduction to the genre. So, you may or may not recognize the name on the book. He's kind of an underground writer. You may not know him, but his name is Stephen King. Okay, all jokes aside, I picked up Stephen King not really knowing what to expect because everyone said he was a good writer, but I had never read any of his books, so I couldn't tell you if he was or not. But the first 6 pages, I was hooked. I read this book in 3 days, which was during midterm season. So if that tells you anything, that means that I read it fast. If I had the time, of course, I'd read it probably all in one day, but that's not how the cookie crumbles when you are a college girly. Anyways, this book made me realize just how good Stephen King is. I get why he is such a great, iconic writer. I get why when people think of horror, they think of this man. Don't get me wrong, I also understand some of the criticisms too. I think that there's just so many times he was crude in a way that just was not necessary. And I feel like that's just a through line with so many male writers. But, I digress. I will stop rambling though. Let us get into the summary before I tell you about this fantastic book. I give my congratulations to the winner among your number, and my acknowledgments of valor to the losers. Against the wishes of his mother, 16-year-old Ray Garrity is about to compete in the annual grueling match of stamina and wits known as the Long Walk. 100 boys must keep a steady pace of 4 miles per hour without ever stopping, with the winner being awarded the prize, anything he wants for the rest of his life. But as part of this national tournament that sweeps through a dystopian America year after year, there are some harsh rules that Garrity and 99 others must adhere to in order to beat out the rest. There is no finish line. The winner is the last man standing. Contestants cannot receive any outside aid whatsoever. Slow down under the speed limit and you're given a warning. 3 warnings and you're out of the game. Permanently. Now, this concept may sound just a little bit familiar to you. Not like it's the same by any means, but I think when I say this book is about 12 to 18-year-olds in a dystopian future competing to the death until one lone survivor remains, you would think of a very different series. Now, I think that The Hunger Games is fantastic. I love it so much. But I also think that there's a lot similar with this. Actually, The Long Walk is developing into a movie this September, so I'm hoping to plan it so this video goes up around that time. But, oh my gosh, the trailer looks so good. I'm so excited. I didn't know the movie was coming out until I was halfway through this book, and I just got so excited. I am so excited to see this on screen. So, since I've been really excited, I've been getting articles about it, and one of them was about the similarities between The Hunger Games and The Long Walk. And Stephen King was very gracious about it. He's like, I don't think the Hunger Games copied me. Like, even if that was true, like, I've taken inspiration from Lord of the Flies in 1984. That doesn't mean I'm copying them. Like, nothing exists in a vacuum. We're all inspired off of one another. And at the same time, multiple people can come up with similar ideas just on their own. So I thought that was really cool. And I think that that's a very good way to put it. But while there are a lot of baseline similarities to the Hunger Games, it is quite different. So in The Long Walk, it is only boys. It is 100 boys aged 12 to 18 that are from all of the US. And the US is still a country in this world, which is so freaky. It is so scary to think about. They're going through states. They start in Maine, and they walk from Maine to Massachusetts. They get through 3 states, and granted, one of them, it's only like that much compared to like Maine being here and the next state after that being here, but it's still 3 states. That's crazy. So as the summary said, the boys had to just continue walking. That's all they had to do. They just had to walk and walk and walk. And I can't remember if it took 3 days or 4 days worth, but they walked for 3 or 4 days straight. They could not stop at all. If they even went a little bit under pace, they would get a warning. And if they got 3 warnings, they're out. And out is a soldier coming and eliminating you. So it's obviously a very dark concept. And Stephen King does not shy away from the pain that these boys are in as they are going through it. And obviously, I wouldn't classify Hunger Games as horror. I think it's thriller, and I think that there are scary parts to it, but it wasn't written with the intention of being a horror book, so it's not a horror book. This book is a horror book, and I think the distinction is the graphic nature in which things are shared. I wasn't very scared by this book for the most part, and then there was a part where a kid got eliminated, and it was so graphic and it was so scary, and I'm not going to get into it because it is very graphic and I don't want to break YouTube's terms of service and that kind of thing. But he basically went insane, and his body was more resilient than it should have been, and even though he should have died sooner, he didn't, and it was just this whole scary thing. But that was really when I was chilling for me, because it was also when I was laying in bed and it was like late at night, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is like actually chilling. Because like other ones, I think there are scarier ways to die than getting shot, because for a lot of people it's very quick, and for a lot of people, especially depending on where you are shot, it can be very painless. But there are ways to make it painful and to make the suffering last, and Stephen King does not shy away from that. So that was the most chilling part of the game for me. There's not too much to say about this book, just because the setting is a road and the only thing they're doing the whole time is walking. Yet Stephen King makes it so interesting. They're just walking the whole time, but it was such a page turner. I felt like I could not put the book down. So during this time, it talks about the thoughts of Ray Garrity and the things that he's going through and the things that happened on in his life and his thoughts during the whole thing. It shows the friends of sorts that he has made through this thing and their stories and the things that they're struggling with and the reasons why they signed up for this game, because unlike the Hunger Games, this is a voluntary sign-up process. And it's pretty ambiguous. This is a pretty ambiguous book. There's really no background as to why it started as this and why people really signed up. The consensus of a lot of people were like, well, I signed up because deep down in my heart I wanted to die. But Ray Garrity was like, I didn't sign up because of that. So why did I sign up? And it's just like, no one could really answer that. So it talks about just the types of those things, and when his friends get really close to their own deaths, it gets really dramatic for them, and they reflect on life and all that kind of stuff. And it's the talks of all of the characters that truly makes it so interesting, because you of course have this whole through line of kids are dying. This is a competition that everyone is watching. It's televised too, and people line up across the streets like you would on a parade and cheer them on. But kids are dying. But even through that through line is pretty interesting, but maybe it can't sustain a whole book. The thoughts and feelings of the people competing is really what carries this book, and I find it quite fascinating. All of these kids are broken in some way. You're just finding out how they're broken. This was definitely a 5-star read for me. It was so easy to read. It was so immersive. It was surprising me at every turn, even near the end. Even in the last couple pages, like, I gasped because I was so surprised by some of the stuff happening. And I want you to experience it for yourself, so I'm not going to give you any spoilers. But if you can handle horror, I think you should read this book. I will go into recommended. I recommend this book to horror lovers, of course. I think that those who want to get into horror should read this book. And I think that Hunger Games lovers should also read this book. Absolutely fantastic. It just is one of the best books I've read in a long time. So this video is pretty short because I think that it's kind of easy to talk about this book pretty quickly. But I am just so excited for the movie to come out. I have not been excited for a movie to come out in years. So I'm beyond excited. If you can handle horror and you can watch the trailer, it is YouTube, so it will be pretty censored. Please go watch it. It is so good. I am so excited for it. And it's directed by the same person who directed the last 3 movies of The Hunger Games. So that's even better. This person has experience with this type of story. So I'm super excited. And I am really looking forward to the movie because I think that it will be really good. And I do hope that it expands upon some of the things that were a little more ambiguous in the book. So that's all I have. Definitely a 5-star read from me. I would recommend it to everyone if I could, but I know not everyone likes horror, not everyone can handle horror. So I'm not gonna be like, oh my gosh, everyone should read it, because I don't want to traumatize people. But that's all I have for now. If you liked this video, like it, comment down below your favorite horror book and one that maybe you would recommend to me, because I really want to get into more horror. I don't like paranormal horror. So please refrain from paranormal books because I just kind of find them boring, if I'm being so for real. But if you have any non-paranormal horror recs, put them in the comments. If you like this video and want to see more of me, please subscribe. I would be so grateful. So without further ado, this has been Moo. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!